Today is December 29th, 2025. If you're listening to this in the future, the robots have not taken over yet. Um, yeah.
They took um they took over me. I told you this before we got on. Actually, we were going to record yesterday and we couldn't because I use AI like coding tools a lot on my machine, and I'm a little lazy about just kind of giving them permissions to do whatever so that they don't nag me all the time. And I was letting one run working on some little project. I leave, I'm in the kitchen doing stuff. I come back and I'm looking at the chat log, just seeing what it did. And it's like, huh, that file's missing too. What a interesting mystery this is. All of the files are missing. Let's get to the bottom of this and figure out what happened. Maybe it had something to do with that rmrf command that I ran earlier. And in non computer or CLI speak, rm means remove. RF are options to the remove command, meaning recursive, so remove this directory and everything underneath it. And F means force, like don't ask for permission, don't check to see if it's okay, ignore any warnings, delete everything. And it's not like move to your trash can and then like maybe delete one day. It's like remove from hard drive. And I'm like, what? What do
Like
you
you did
mean?
not you did not run this. You did not
No,
type.
I told Claude to work on web rendering support on this little toy project I was playing with. And Claude deleted my hard drive. Technically not the whole thing, just all of the important parts that like in my home directory and everything. So I've been recovering from that for the past day or two. I had the important stuff backed up for the most part, but there's turns out there's all kinds of little configuration files and login tokens and everything that are stored there that are all gone now. So like everything's broken. Couldn't get my camera to come back on because all the or my webcam thing, all the settings were missing. Couldn't remember how to set that up. OBS was nuked. Almost everything I try on my computer now, it's like, oh wait, this program has been completely reset. It's been traumatic for the past 2 days.
Well, I wonder if this is foreshadowing for next year. It would be, it would be interesting. I bet you we left ourselves messages in our end of year episode last year. I bet we did. Or maybe we didn't have one last year. I bet we have before and we never look back. But it would be funny to see like next year if this is just I don't know, something we laugh at because the
Yeah,
robots have broken into our homes and start stealing our hard drives rather than deleting them.
yeah.
But
I mean, I
um,
would say that this is what happened appeared to be more just stupidity than like it trying to do something malicious. It doesn't. It's just a whatever. But I know this
yeah.
makes you so happy. You're
Well,
just
yeah, I get
thrilled
some joy out of
because I'm like modestly kind of positive on some of these tools in that I think they're sometimes useful, and I know that offends you. So I'm sure you're thrilled to know that my hard drive got wiped.
I
Karma for me.
I'm so far above that. It doesn't even.
No, you're
Um. Okay, so how do you want to do this? It's been a year. We have to be somewhat end of year themed. I would, you know, talk about like everything I've done this year, but I already did a YouTube video on it, like on my own channel covering
yeah.
like my whole year in art. So, I don't want to just rehash
Well,
everything.
I don't either, but this is not your YouTube. This is our YouTube, I guess. And I do want to know kind of where you're at. I watched your YouTube video and it was great. It seemed like people liked it a lot too. It was very honest, or at least it appeared to be honest. And you basically said that this time last year you were in a pretty serious rut due to life circumstances and everything, and you had almost entirely written off art, and then you went through this year of pretty incredible artistic output, and your YouTube channel has taken off, and you've done a lot of work on the book and all these different pieces. You like got into a great place, but you said now you kind of feel like you're back where you were last year. So I
Yeah.
mean, I'd at least want to, not to rehash it necessarily, but I would want to kind of talk about that. Maybe we do
Well,
this. Like this episode we'll call the kind of Christmas episode, like the pre New Year's episode, more or less.
yeah.
And so be a little bit more retrospective right now, and then maybe next week we can kind of more look forward to what the goals are and the plan is for next year. It doesn't have to
Okay.
be exact,
That
but
works.
something like that.
All right. It's a good start. Okay. Regarding my YouTube video or starting out being in a total rut, having a super productive year, and then being in a rut again. I think, I could be wrong. I could be just justifying this in my head or spinning a story in my head, but I don't think it's actually art related. Uh, it's actually the same life circumstance that has just circled back around. I don't want to get into it, but uh, I think a lot of my year, I wouldn't say it was built on. It's hard to talk about and not talk about at the same time, but um, I used art a lot this year to escape
Yeah.
things. And then I realized at the end, oh, you can't escape things. And so that has dampened my excitement for, life itself. And therefore the art. So the art sort of went with
Yeah.
a life circumstance or whatever. It got brought down. But I'm already feeling, a little better. I don't know. I don't know. But and it's hard, like a bunch of people in the comments were like, "Oh, it's seasonal affective disorder. Like you should Google SAD and it's the winter." Well, I live in Florida and it's
Yeah.
summer all year round.
There is no
It's
winter.
not bad. Well, I mean, at the same time, I'm pretty sure we have said that the winter just seems to suck the life out of you sometimes. So I'm sure that's playing into it a little bit, but I'm already like making that video was very cathartic for me. I was very, you know, I was an artist and I expressed myself and it was, a little on the sad side, but and I'm proud that I put that out and then I did that. But it was cathartic and it did what art should do in that now I feel like, okay, let's go to the next thing. Let's get started. And so I feel, you know, ready to do the next thing. So in that sense, my
Yeah.
video is slightly outdated and that it,
Okay.
came out. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know how to like sum it up the whole year,
Well,
but
okay, to
yeah.
take a slightly different angle here. How do you I mean, complicated life circumstances aside, how do you feel like you did this year in terms of the way you approached your art or even your life? Just,
That's a good
would
question.
would you have done it differently, or do you feel like you kind of went about it the right way?
I I think I did go about it the right way, but towards the end of the year, I start in the last maybe 3 months of the end of the year, I started to realize that I've built up a lot of bad habits. That's a great question. How do I think I did? I think I naturally built these really good, healthy, wholesome ways of doing art, and you know, I was all in and it was really wonderful. But then with the YouTube channel and everything, I've started to develop some bad habits of just
Yeah.
totally addicted to social media. Like just I have fallen into that so hardcore. Um and maybe next episode we start talking about our plans for the future because I already have a bunch and I'm already feeling kind of excited
Yeah.
to get into all of that. But that's what started to happen. So I'm finally at a point, and I know we've talked about this before, like how blind you can be to it. I'm finally at the point where I can recognize that I have become totally addicted to social media, and it has affected me so greatly. That I think that's one of the biggest factors that has contributed to me not doing as much art is, and when I say art, I mean, I don't know, wholesome things that I want to do. It's not just drawing a picture, but um, yeah. So I did great for a long time, and then have realized that I built up some really bad habits towards the end of the year, and starting for the new year, I will be working to unravel all of those.
Okay.
How about
Okay.
you? And how do you think you did?
How did I do?
Like on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, it's really hard
Yeah.
to think back on the year as a whole. It really is. A year is a long time.
Yeah. I think. I mean, if we were just giving it a number, I'd say a 6 or a 7, which
Really.
I think
Are you
so.
just trying to be modest, or
About
is
how
that your true number?
I think that's
Like one time, but in when I was in college, I took this, actually it was one of the only art classes I ever took. I had like 2 art classes in high school too, but there's
yeah.
this art teacher in college I had, and he's sort of an abstract teacher or whatever. But at the end of the class, he asked us to grade ourselves, give ourselves our own grade. And I was trying to be all modest, so I gave myself a C. And he's like, "Okay, you have a C." And I was like, "What the hell?" Like, I totally deserved more than that,
That's
but I gave myself
iconic.
a C. So I'm just, do you really think you deserve a 6, or are you just trying to be
What
modest like I was?
what an insane teacher though. What the hell?
Well, in his defense, he just told me to grade myself, and then that's what I graded myself, and then
But
he said, "Okay," and then I was pissed. Like,
was it clear that that would be your report card grade?
I I w I mean, maybe it was, but I wasn't.
Did the kid who did absolutely nothing the entire semester be like A plus and he gave him an A plus? I mean,
Yeah, he would have given him an A, yeah.
dude, that's
I think I
insane.
was sort of under the impression, like, "No, there's no way. Surely he'll say that I deserve more or whatever," but so I learned a lesson that day. Not the one he was trying to teach me, but or maybe
What was he trying to teach you there? That's insane. That's totally
I
nuts,
don't know.
dude. Teachers are
But now it's
crazy.
like, at any job you're at or whatever in a career, they're like, "How do you think you're doing?" You say, "Pretty damn good. I'm doing great. I give
Yeah,
myself an A plus."
maybe that is a good
Anyway,
lesson. I don't know.
back to you.
Yeah. Okay, look. So, I think this year I've gone through stretches of time where I felt really good. I felt really focused. I felt like I was working on the things that were important and I was thinking hard and thinking clearly, all that. But there's also been many stretches this year where I haven't, and I've been just struggling a lot to do good work, whether it's my job or my personal projects or my fitness goals or just kind of life in general. So it's kind of been back and forth, which I will say is an improvement from years where I've had like zero good stretches or very few. Uh so I guess I feel like I'm able to be the good version of me more often than I used to, but it's not like I'm always there. I can't imagine there's a world where I'm there 100% of the time. I'm
Oh, well, why don't we try a different approach? Uh, How would you describe your year more so than your level of, productivity or whatever? Like, don't give yourself a score. How would you just sum up some of the things you did this year? Like, what was the theme of this year, sort of? Not in terms of what you wanted to accomplish or whatever, but, like,
yeah.
just what actually happened.
I would say this year was a pretty big adjustment. I know this isn't something you want to talk about, but the AI thing has been a pretty big deal in software. It's
Yeah,
just
for you and everyone.
you're
So,
right.
I'm saying it's probably everyone's theme this year or part
Maybe
of
it
it.
is. Maybe it is the year of kind of getting a feel for AI and what it means and what it doesn't mean and whatever. Um, and that's been interesting. Like in some ways, it's really exciting. I can do some cool stuff, and certain things are a lot faster and less painful than before. but also the downsides are pretty real. And I don't mean it deleting my home directory. That was stupid and annoying, and it still has me upset. But like, what actually feels gross, um, like last weekend or whenever, I had Claude, the AI coding tool that I use, work on a project, and I had it implement this like Bluetooth communication between different devices, and it was like, in a way, it was really fun. I had all these different phones like plugged into the computer. I'm telling it which ones I want to use. I'm setting up all these little test cases and having it like try and connect from one to the other, and then try and like turn one off and turn it back on and make sure it comes back and send data back and forth. And like by the end of it, I had something that was working. It was like transmitting data between Mac OS and iOS and Android and Linux and everything over the Bluetooth connection, which is like a very, very fiddly, weird thing to have to mess with. It's like different on every platform. And it was working. And I'm like, man, this would have taken me so long if I did it myself. But instead, I just got this machine to do it. I just figured this problem out. And it's like, it's awesome. But then I'm continuing to work on it. And as ever, like these coding tools kind of hit a wall at some point where you start to try and change things and like something breaks and it can't really handle it. We're getting to the point where I need to get in there and like really work with it and understand what's happening and clean things up. And I'm just realizing like, man, I spent the entire weekend, probably 3 days, working on this, but I don't really understand it at all. I don't even know what I'm looking at because all of my time and energy was invested in just like telling a machine to do stuff and just prompting it and, you know, basically vibe coding this thing. I'm like, man, this feels gross. I feel like I did all this work, kind of, but like learned nothing. All of the effort that I expended was like just meaningless text prompts and, you know, very shallow understanding of certain things. It just made me feel bad. Like
Yeah.
if it had just worked and it had been fine, then like it could have just saved me from having to mess with that. But instead, it sucked up a bunch of time. I got to a point where like, I just kind of got stuck. And this isn't necessarily the case every time. There have been times where it worked out pretty well, but it just wound up being a big time sink, and it just felt so bad coming out of it. And that's just like one specific example, but that that type of thing, like where the work you're doing is just dumber and more shallow, and you're just kind of like just asking this machine over and over, like, no, 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 do it different, try again, let's tweak the prompt. It feels awful. So
Yeah.
trying to come to terms with some of this stuff has been a challenge. I can see this in other people. I don't think they can see it in themselves, and I'm aware of that like maybe it is happening in me too, and I'm not seeing it either. But I can see the AI brain taking over people. There are some conversations that I will have, you know, through Slack or something, where I can tell that the person on the other end is just copy pasting into Chat GPT, and they're just sent. I mean, they're not necessarily like literally word for word copying it back, but I know they don't understand what they're talking about, and you know, you'll catch those same weird errors that just don't make any sense, and it feels terrible. It's such a it's such a weird like AI is dehumanizing, but it's not just dehumanizing in the way that like you look at art and it's like it lacks the human factor in it. It's like it's dehumanizing to humans. It's offloading all this stuff to just this machine. It's kind of rough. It's taking some figuring out. And the other side of it too is that it has been really useful for a lot of things. It is not pure grift. It's not like there's nothing there. It can be really helpful in a lot of ways. So, you know, it can offload like really menial stuff. It could do, you know, labor intensive searches just to dig up some piece of information that I don't want to have to do. So there's a lot of really good things about it, but man, the bad things are pretty bad too. And I guess, what was your original question? Like, what was this year like for me? I think that's been a huge part of it, is like coming to terms with this, that the way I operate is different now, going to be different forever in terms of software engineering. And I'm just trying to figure out like, where do I draw the lines? How do I navigate this stuff? How do I prevent AI brain from taking me over? Because I can see it and it sucks.
Yeah, this year's definitely been filled with a lot of the overall crushing toxicity of tech in general has just been reached an all-time high now, I think, this year. Uh,
Yeah.
but I don't yeah, I don't really wanna dwell on that.
I
I
don't
also
either,
feel
but
like for me,
it has to be at least acknowledged, I think, for me.
I maybe this is temporary, maybe it won't last, but I have reached uh, reached s I've gotten to a point where I'm able to kind of ignore it in my own world or stay in my own world, and, like, in my YouTube stuff and all the art I do outside of work, there's no AI at all, and so,
Mhm.
as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really exist, and I kinda just pretend that it doesn't and just live in my own art
Yeah.
world, and it feels like a wholesome thing, and that has felt nice. It hasn't been it hasn't really entered uh, into my way of thought much when it comes to my own art. Maybe it's just because my YouTube stuff is doing decently now, so I can feel good about,
Yeah.
AI free art, whereas before it felt like a threat. Now maybe it is a threat, but I'm existing in my own little world and it's doing okay, so I feel good right now. You know, it
Yeah.
sometimes it's sort of like, struggling to breathe, as you're sinking underwater or something, but for the most part, at least in this moment, because my latest video is doing well, it feels like, oh, there's a little bit of hope, or things aren't so bad, or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That could change by next week, but
Yeah.
yeah.
There is a big difference too, I think, like, part of what I'm struggling with here is to figure out when do I wanna use it? What do I wanna use it for? Like I said, that Bluetooth connectivity project that I ran for a weekend felt terrible. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I had just sat down and learned how this stuff worked and, like, wired it up myself and then just wound up with a good fundamental understanding of what's happening rather than what I did, right? So that was a great case of should not have done that. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. But you look at something like art, and for the most part, collectively, like any normal human who wants to see art and enjoy it, and, like, the type of person who watches your YouTube channel and sees what you do, the answer is very clear, which is we do not want AI art at all. Like, it is not compelling. We don't enjoy it. We don't like it. It's unsatisfying. Like, all of that. And that's pretty much the universal answer. Not to say that it can't, help a game developer, fill out assets and tile a map and whatever. Like, there's uses for it and that's fine to whatever degree, but, like, for art, we want to feel the human judgment. We want to, you know, we want human created art. And I think part of that is that when you paint a painting, you're literally putting a brush to canvas. It is a lot of work, obviously. It could be really tedious work in some cases, like having to do a lot of very manual, filling in a background or painting a sky or whatever. I don't know. But people appreciate that. Like, you see it and you're like, wow, that took a lot of work. And it's really intricate, and somebody gave this a lot of careful attention. Like, we appreciate that part of it. When you're talking about software, some program, people don't even don't even know what's behind the pixels on the screen. Like, the fact that there's source code in there, like, most people don't even really understand what that is. If I hand wire up the FDK AAC decoder library, I'm being specific because I have to do this, and it takes me 10 hours to do it, like writing out C structs line by line and checking how many bits are in each field. No one even knows what I'm talking about. Like, no one cares. So it is a bit different. And so ideally, like, my brain power is more dedicated to, like, thinking about the engineering and how it's going to work and how the user is going to interact with it, and trying to build something that a human would want and appreciate. But it's like the lines are really blurry and it's just hard. So I don't know. I think me and the rest of the world is kind of wrestling with that. A lot of people have really fallen on the hard ends of the spectrum, which is, absolutely no AI at all, hate it. And others are think it's a miracle and it solves every problem. You know,
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. That has been a huge factor in this year. Anything else that isn't AI? I mean, like, did you finish any projects? Did you wrap anything up? Is there anything, you know, worthy of noting here?
I made a choice this year. So the only project of the modern era of my life that I have shipped is my nutrition app. And that it has some users and some people seem to like it, but it's pretty niche. It's not like a big success or anything. It's the only thing I've actually gotten out there. And looking at it, it's obvious now that it is an app that does nothing new. It maybe does certain things better than other apps, but it's kind of a soft better. Like you could argue for or against, but like the features that it has are not fundamentally different than really anything else. And there are thousands of nutrition apps out there. So I'm looking at that and thinking, okay, that's fine. I wasn't, putting all my hopes and dreams on this. It was literally just to get me to a point where I could ship something. And I did. But it made me think about just the nature of like putting something out into the world, especially in today's world where everything is very saturated. And ultimately, if you want something to get attention and get people using it and caring about it, it needs to do something that is novel or something that one person would say to another person to say, "Oh, have you tried this program? It does X and nothing else does X. Like it's the only program that does this thing." It has to be unique in some way. It can't just kind of show up in a market with lots of other, similar applications that already have a reputation and a user base and, all that. So I'm just thinking, okay, I I have this kind of dream that I've been after for a while. This class of application that is peer to peer that uses like these data types that can be offline and online and merged together and kind of an application almost like a server and a user application kind of smashed together into one thing. It's this thing I've been working on for a long time, and I've kind of just decided that I want to get that out. Like I want to build that, and that's what I want to send out there. Not this kind of 10% of the dream or 20% of the dream. Like I really want to make that happen. So I just decided, all right, I'm just going to go heads down and really try and bring that together. And I made a ton of progress, but it's also not done. Like there's just a lot of different systems that are involved in that. So this whole year I've been working through, encryption systems and CRDT layer and networking layers and everything to try and make this happen. And there's been a few times that I've encountered something where I'm like, oh, this might not work at all. And I think I've made it through, but it's been tough. So essentially, I just kind of decided to double down on the dream rather than the incremental approach. And that has not come to fruition yet. And I'm hoping that that's the right choice, but either way, I think that's what I'm going with.
As long as you finish, I think it's the right choice, and that's exciting. So that's
Yeah.
cool. You also have you did the blog.
That's true. That's been a
You
this
started
year
the
thing.
blog, and you were the first or the top thing on Hacker News. Like you were one of your
Mhm.
blog posts like kind of took off. Multiple ones did. So that's pretty awesome. Like
Yeah,
you
that's
spent
cool.
some time writing and that's cool. New ability unlocked. I okay, I'm gonna give myself some credit. I said that I talked about this in my own video, but I'll do it again just because I did so much this year with my art. I mean, if you really look at the beginning of the year, I was posting like every, 2 months on Instagram or something. Uh just some random stuff. I was super frustrated. I didn't even have a name for my project. And now looking back, this year I have launched basically launched a YouTube channel. I went from, I don't know, a couple hundred subscribers maybe. I think I had 200 subscribers at the beginning of the year. Now I have like over 13,000, which no, it's not like 400,000 like you, but you know, uh
Can I just
whatever. I'm comparing.
interject?
Yeah.
It seems like, I mean, yes, subscriber count, whatever. But when I kind of came back to my, not even when I came back, when I was sort of trailing off the the original go through of my YouTube account, and recently ish when I posted some new videos to try and get it going again, I would get like if I posted a video and it didn't really catch and YouTube showed it everywhere, like there was the big videos, right? But the just kind of the normal ones, I would get about 4,000 views. Like I could pretty much count on getting 4,000 views within a couple days. And then it was more of a trickle unless it just kind of got shown and then it might be a lot more. You're pretty close to that, I think. I mean, how
What, the
within
4,000?
yeah, within 24 hours, like how many views do you typically get on a video?
Yeah, the first 48. I mean, right now, like my last video, I think it's been 4 days and it's a little over 30,000 views.
Right.
So that's great. That is my best one. But yeah, I guess 4 or 5,000 in a day is probably really good. I don't know. It's doing great now. Like my last few videos have done really well
Right.
for me.
Yeah, well, even the
Um,
ones that didn't like take off as much, you're still getting at least a few thousand views within 24
yeah,
hours, 48 hours, right?
yeah,
All I'm saying is that I think your active viewership, the people who are going to watch pretty much whatever you post, even if it's not that great, is pretty close to what mine was at. I mean, yeah, I
I
had
guess it's
the I had the big
true.
well, I mean, I had some that got big and had millions of views and everything, and so you collect a lot of subscribers that way, but it's not necessarily people who are like really engaged and watch. Maybe it was more than that. I don't know, but it's like on par. It's not 10x. It's maybe 2x or something. So, I'm
Yeah,
just saying, I would not the subscriber count is a little different than like you being in the YouTube zeitgeist and people being really excited about it and watching it. I mean, tons of people who watch your channel are not going to subscribe because subscribing is completely meaningless nowadays anyway. I've certainly
yeah.
never
It's
subscribed to Linus Tech Tips and I can't stop seeing stupid Linus. He's fine, whatever. But I don't want to see his videos and I can't stop because it doesn't matter. I've watched like two, and so YouTube just like has to shove it down my throat every day. Like subscribing doesn't mean anything. So you're doing well, is what I'm saying.
yeah. Well, thank you. And yeah, so I'm ending the year on a very high note with that. I feel very good about it. I'm excited about it. So I basically launched a YouTube. Uh, it's doing well. I launched a Patreon. I do not keep up with it, but I should, and I'd like to start keeping up with that. I made a website. I have plans for no, that doesn't count because I didn't do them this year. I have plans for stuff, but I didn't make any products this year. Um, I was I got featured on Kelsey Rodriguez's show.
All that.
Um, that was fun. I
You did an art show,
probably saw this.
right?
I didn't. Did I do an art show?
Yeah.
Kind of. I did a tiny little art thing at
Yeah, I
work.
think it
It
counts. I
hardly
mean,
counts.
it counts for something.
Actually, I don't want it to count because I want to do it for real next year. Um,
Okay, fine.
but
That's
I
a
made
okay reason to make it not count.
I made a lot of art. I did a lot of stuff this year, so I feel good about all of that.
Well, we can talk more about this next week, or I think we should talk more about it next week. But I think the if the theme of last year was kind of starting some new things, trying to get used to some new circumstances, whether they're life circumstances, the changing nature of the industry type of circumstances, whatever. It was like an adjustment period. We got some smaller, not necessarily smaller things, but like a lot of things going. Next year I think is the year of shipping something. Like you need a book or you do the big. Did you get accepted to Comic Con or MegaCon or whatever it was?
Nope, nope, I got put on the waiting list, which doesn't surprise me. They hardly ever accept new people. It's always
Does
returning people get first dibs and then
does waiting
but
lists
no,
mean anything? Like, is that a good thing?
no. It's just what they say so you don't get too mad.
Okay.
But no, I did not get accepted.
Okay. So fine. Then so next year is I am going to ship something that like is some percentage, some piece of the dream that I've been after, like a real thing that I can point to and say this is the only one in the world that does what it does. And you're going to ship your art book or something. I don't care what, but like
All the things I said, I made a lot of videos about things I was going to do. This next year, I have to
right.
actually do them all.
Right. Yes. So okay. So next year is the year of actually doing it. So let's try and think of it that way.
Yeah, I've realized at the end of this year, in order for me to go to, I don't know, the next step or the next level, or that sounds stupid, but in order for me to make it where I want to go, I have to start kind of growing up. I have to start solving some of the more complex problems. I need to be disciplined and like I have to. It's not just about improving art skills now anymore. I'm
Yeah.
into the adult range where it's not just getting better at the skill, it's navigating through social media addiction and being able to wake up on time and do the work and consistently face your fears over and over and over again and make products and finish things and put them out and be vulnerable on camera and make new videos consistently and do all of the really hard things over and over again and be disciplined. And so it's I don't know, this next year is is gonna be a bit scarier and bigger and harder, and I'm excited for it, but it's also like, okay, I gotta grow up a little bit and start
Yeah.
being a little more serious and not waste my time scrolling and yeah.
I like that. Let's talk more about what that actually means next week. But just as a big high level thing, the next year is going to be about doing hard things and growing up, and I like that. I think I think I could use some of that too. I think I've started actually a little bit this year. The way I see myself has changed a little. Uh, when we talk more about it next week. But yeah, let's plan on that.
Alright, let's end it there. Merry Christmas, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, be thinking about what you want to do next year because that'll be what we're thinking about, and it'd be nice to have some some people along for the ride. Great, we will talk to you then. Thanks for watching.